day 2 of, working on this thing. And so I'm getting ready pretty much to pull the valve cover off. And I pulled this out and just an insane amount of oil. So I'm pretty sure that the valve cover seals for the spark plugs are bad on pretty much most of them. So I'm pretty much, this is exactly why we do valve cover gaskets and spark plug seals, just because, preventative maintenance for this. He was getting a lot of drag and maybe a lot of misfiring, so definitely a big issue right there. I'm gonna have to clean this up and then just take everything else off again. But literally not even 5 seconds, well, okay, 2 minutes in, and then pretty much I find this. So I'm glad I left this for the last part because it's gonna be the easiest thing. And then we just clean up everything and then make sure he's all good to go. I got new plugs and I have an extra coil, so we can swap out these that have like gunked up oil on them. So should be good to go. And this is why I say that working on 1.8Ts are actually a lot easier, just because everything is like so accessible compared to a VR6, which covers the whole entire engine bay, and then you have an intake manifold on top, so you got to take off the intake manifold, then you got to replace it with gaskets and stuff like that. This is literally just right up here on top, and then you can just take off the 10mm bolts all the way around, in the middle, coil, plugs and wires, everything off, and then you're good to go. So that's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna get them new plugs, gaskets, and everything. So stay tuned. So the further I pull these plugs, there's one. I'm gonna dip that one back in the sauce and bring it back up. I should call her. God damn. After an annoying little battle with, because this hose right here, this bent one right here with the flashlight on, was bent right over it, and this one was bent a little bit on top of the actual valve cover itself, so it wasn't letting me actually pull them. But if you look, can't even see the spark plug. Damn, that's crazy. It's good. And then his tensioner doesn't seem too worn out, so that's a good thing. This is fairly clean, so maintenance has been kept up on this car. So it's just this puddle. So time to replace it. So I'm putting down the camera, that way you guys can actually see what's going on with what I mean by spark plugs falling out. If you can't hear that, it's wet and moist. Oof, I like that noise. I'm definitely calling her. Yes, sir. Put that in camera for you guys. This is probably going to be hard to start it when it comes up, so I'm going to be using the same old plugs just to start it, burn them off, burn up all the oil, run it through, then come back and we'll probably replace them all. There. That's what a spark plug socket or hole is supposed to look like, at least. So what I'm gonna end up doing is just pretty much put a rag down there, swirl it up, clean it up a little bit, bring it out, do it again to every single one. That way, pretty much I can get the cylinders cleaned up a little bit. I've actually never seen that before, so I thought it was new because it was clean and everything, but no, this thing actually fell apart once I even started taking it off. So definitely not a good sign. Definitely gonna replace it, clean it up on the edges a little bit, put some silicone where it's supposed to go, next to like the half-moon seal and stuff. That way this gasket doesn't give them any issues. After this, I'm gonna seal it up, put the old spark plugs back in. Once they drain a little bit, clean up the coil packs. Probably use my old ones, that way they're fresh and clean. Start it up, burn off all that excess oil on the cylinders, and then pretty much she's ready to go. So I lied, actually. So I'm actually going to go to the parts store. No, I do not ride like this. This is just aired up. She needed a jump, so got my charger, jumped it. So I'm gonna get the spark plug gap tool, that way I can gap the spark plugs correct. They're heat range 7s. The part number is 4644. I'm gonna gap them down to 028. I'm gonna get the anti-seize grease for the spark plugs, and then that little tool to gap them. I think I just said that already. Tool grease, oh, and silicone. That way I can actually silicone the little corners that need to be siliconed. So be right back. So I'm back from the parts store. Got the gasket maker, got the anti-seize little, and got this. So now that I'm back home, I'm gonna put the brand new spark plug seal. I'm gonna put silicone, which I don't know if a lot of people do this, but I was always taught to do this. So you put silicone on the corners, just where this flashlight is at. You're gonna put silicone right there, this corner right here, a little bit in the back corner, and then just a little bit where this corner is at, where it starts to go right. I don't know if anybody else does that, but I've just always been taught that way. So I'm just gonna continue and do it the same way. It's never giving me issues. So pretty much I just put everything back together, like a mock-up. I put the old spark plugs in there, that way I can just run it right now, because there's a lot of oil that seep down from the spark plugs down in there. So I'm just gonna run it, that way it clears everything out, and then I'm gonna swap out the plugs, and then pretty much she's all ready to go. So let's see if she starts. Letting the throttle body adapt. Give it a minute. Now that the throttle body adapted, yes, a lot of smoke and a lot of fucking oil. So I'm gonna let this run for a minute and then get back to it. After an excessive amount of oil that flew out of the exhaust, there you go. All of that was pretty much what was on top of the spark plugs. So I'm letting it run, that way it'll warm up, spit out all pretty much the misfires, spit out all the oil that it has in the exhaust system right now. That way, after I get back from my test drive, I can throw in the new spark plugs that are gapped, and pretty much she's all ready to go. I'm gonna take a look at what's wrong with this bumper, because he said that it was always like that. So I'm gonna check it out. But then yeah, I'll keep you guys updated. I'm pretty sure it's fine, but I'll keep you guys updated. I'm actually on my way to go get an exhaust gasket. Seems like his manifold to downpipe gasket is so the turbo to the manifold, the downpipe is leaking. So I'm gonna go to AutoZone off West Lane where Mike is at. That way I can get another one. I'm waiting on the customer again, so he can tell me if he wants me to. That was a highway patrol. If he wants me to do it or not, because he only gave me a certain amount of money to get the parts and install them and everything. So we're pretty much already at that limit, and I don't want to do more for obviously not getting paid for it. I would hook him up, but the thing is, at the moment, I can't really do that. So I'm on my way to actually get some parts, but I'm also calling him and he's not answering. So I think I'm just gonna have to just leave his car the way it is right now, and just pretty much just do what I can with what he gave me. It sucks though, because then I feel like I'm not, fixing his car like it should be. But I mean, I can only do so much. So what's going on, guys? I'm actually starting a little bit later than I actually didn't start late. So I woke up this morning, I got an exhaust put on this car. So I cut off the muffler. Well, went to the exhaust shop, but they did all the work. But you get what I'm saying, right? Okay, so I went to the exhaust shop, got new tips on the car, got the muffler deleted. It sounds decently well for someone who's actually 50 years old, which he is. So it's not droney, it's not hella loud, but it sounds like he said he wanted something a little bit more sporty. So we went muffler delete with Wicked Flow tips. just that they had. Obviously you go dual because it sounds a lot more controlled. I got the exhaust manifold gasket put in that I expected was leaking also. For some reason this catalytic converter had 2 holes drilled into it. I think they thought it was clogged or something, so it was also leaking from there. So I got those welded up and then sealed, so now it sounds actually better. It boosts up correctly and stuff like that. So now I'm actually just going to be gapping the spark plugs. Here, let me turn it around. So I'm going to be gapping the spark plugs with this tool that you can get at AutoZone. So here's the part number. It's going to be 4644. It's flipped, I'm sorry. But these are copper plugs. You gap them down to 028, 032. It works regardless. They're heat range 7, so they run a cooler. That's pretty much all I'm going to do for the car, and then pretty much just return it to him. So this is going to be the last thing I do, and once I pretty much do it, I will let you guys know pretty much that I just did it. So yeah, and then get everything back together, which already is. I just need to put the vacuum box bracket back on and call it a day. So I appreciate you guys for watching. Every single one of you guys are amazing. Please like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for more Volkswagen content, if not more fucking daily tings of broken fucking cars. So I appreciate you guys so much. Thanks.